This year's Adelaide Marathon started at the iconic St Peter's Cathedral before making its way around 2 laps of the city. There was a big crowd doing the full marathon. The weather was pretty much perfect, and despite coming up with a race plan to run nice steady 5-minute 20-second Ks in an effort to reach my goal of finishing in 3 hours 50, things went a little differently than I expected right from the start.
It's about the 5k mark of the Adelaide Marathon. Thankfully the weather's pulled up well after a pretty stormy week, and off to a slightly faster start than anticipated, courtesy of my friend here Graham, who's a lot faster than me. So I've just hung out with him having a bit of a chat until he takes off and I fall over in a screaming heap, but we'll see how we go. How you going, Graham?
So far so good.
By the time I reached the 15k mark and averaging under 5 minutes a kilometre, I decided to back it off a fraction and let the guys go ahead. So as I made my way through the Botanic Gardens and then out into the surrounding parklands, I was running mostly on my own and desperately trying to work out what pace would get me home fast enough but still in one piece, and hoping I hadn't blown it by going out too fast too soon.
I'm at about the 17.5k mark and tracking way ahead of time, which means I haven't stuck to my plan at all. And although that sounds good that I'm in front of where I expected to be, that could cost me dearly in the second half of the race. So I've possibly spent a few too many petrol tickets. I'll have to wait and see what happens. So 17.6 k's down, 127.
The start of the second lap and the 21k halfway mark had me taking in views of the Torrens River and the fog-shrouded city. The field had really started to spread out, and despite still holding a pace of about 5 minutes a k, I wasn't at all confident I could hold anything like this pace all the way to the end.
It's also at this point people who are much more capable of sustaining this pace start running past you, and it's a bit demoralising, so just got to try not to worry about that.
With a half marathon and 10k distance also on the go, I started seeing heaps of runners ahead of me on some of the out and back sections, and it was difficult to know if they were marathoners ahead of me or half marathoners doing their own thing. Either way, it was a bit of a mental game to not be discouraged seeing all those other runners out in front. As I made my way down the hilly North Adelaide section, I hit the turnaround point of the 10k course and ended up in a big crowd of runners. I was still travelling okay at this point, but with about 6k's of my own race to go, things got real tough and filming got way too difficult. I slowed down big time, but pushed on towards the finish line. I was only a few hundred metres from the end when both legs cramped really badly, and I couldn't quite manage to point my camera in the right direction to film my triumphant, but not all that attractive finish. After that, I made a beeline for the nearest patch of grass where I took a bit of an unexpected laydown. So how did I go?
Well, as predicted, going out too fast at the start really cost me at the end. There was not a lot of video going on because I just really didn't have the energy or focus to even get the camera happening. The last probably 5 or 6k's were really tough going. I was cramping a bit, nothing I could do about it, didn't have any salt tablets with me, and really just watched my time disintegrate. Now the good news is I set 3 goals for this race. I set what I call the HCS goals. So the H is what I hope for, the C is what I think I can do, and the S is what I should do. So I knew I should be able to do about 4 hours. Can was, maybe 350. I think I'm capable of doing a 350. And the hope for was about 345. So if everything had gone right on the day, that was what I would have been aiming for. And I cranked out the first half in great time, but I knew that was going to bring me unstuck. And the last sort of 2 or 3 Ks, I was just probably lucky to keep going. Nearly didn't even make it across the finish line. I was cramping so bad. Need to wait for my official time, but I'm pretty sure I brought it in just under 345, which is, for me, a personal best by about 15 minutes, and I'm absolutely stoked. A little bit ruined now, and I'll need a little bit of recovery, but yeah, so happy to have made it, let alone made it in that kind of time. So definitely not a great race strategy for me to go out like a bat out of hell and then hang on, because I wasn't able to hang on. But luckily I'd banked enough time in the front half that I still managed to pull out a decent time. So there you go.